Hey, welcome back, folks. Ray Lucia here along with Gene Pastula now, talking to you about your dough. First, hey, Gene, how you doing?
I'm doing well.
First, I want to ask you, because I was just reporting, as you probably heard, me discussing newsletters, and of course, Mark Hulbert, you've followed Mark, I'm sure, over the years. Yeah. And he retired, I guess, 6 months ago or so.
Good thing, because he had no life when he was living, when he was working.
The guy did a tremendous job of tracking hundreds of letters.
I know. I can't keep up with 5.
Yeah, well, I'm sure he made money because I paid him a bunch of money for years, but then I finally gave up because there were websites that did similar things for free. But nonetheless, how are you doing in the market timing business?
Oh, listen, I'm killing it. Well, you know, about 3 years ago now, I sold my major real estate holding, and so I had to start, moving money into, and I figured, okay, the market, and I wanted to do it myself. Because I have a degree, right? I'm a certified
CFP,
financial planner. Sure, I know all about that. And so anyway, I started getting into the newsletter thing about reading them and testing them out, and I've come to the same conclusion old Marco did.
Yeah.
There's no magic.
There is no magic. And I've talked about this many times before. The planning aspect. If you're going to pay somebody for, quote, advice, then make sure it's planning advice and not stock picking or market timing advice. Because we have this thing called the black swan that messes with your head, it messes with your life, and it messes with your portfolio. Nobody would have thunk that we would have 2 of those guys in, like a 10-year period of time. Remember, we had a black swan event in 2000 through 2002. We had 3 down years in a row. And what did all the pundits say coming into the 4th year? It's going to be bad. It's going to be bad. Then it gets better. 2007, everybody forgot about the last one. And what happened? Then Kapowie. A really big one, a 57. Kapowie. Oh, Kapow. Did you ever watch Batman?
That's an old
Batman
Wall Street firm. Term. Yeah.
Forget about it.
Forget about it. Yeah. So and with due respect to all of our friends, because you know a lot of guys that do this too. They don't do it successfully long term. They don't. And I don't care what track records they show you. The minute you invest your money that way, it's not going to work.
You too?
Oh, yeah.
I thought it was just me.
No, it's not just you, pal.
Buy what sell what I buy.
Now, you spent more of your life on the insurance and the fixed and the guaranteed side.
And what's interesting is that it wasn't my intention, but it kind of proves to me that the thoughts that I've been promoting and discussing with people and teaching for the last 40 years are truly right in comparison to the options. It's about understanding your objective and then choosing a strategy that has the highest potential of achieving it. And specifically, that's what your strategy is designed to do. If you have 4 objectives, then you need perhaps 4 strategies that you put into your portfolio.
Well, it sounds a little bit like a book I once wrote, doesn't it?
Well,
kind of. You helped me with it. Here's what I learned from you the other day, because I got one of your emails and all that stuff. You send me this spam and stuff all the time, but I do enjoy it, so don't stop.
Okay.
I do read it all. And what I learned is, and I think this one, maybe it wasn't from you, I don't know, but this one had to do with an index universal life insurance policy, and it compared a 50-50 mix of stocks and bonds, which, if stocks have earned 10% over the last 30 years and bonds have earned 5% over the last 30 years, if you're 50-50, then you got 7.5%. if you put the money into this index universal life with a 10 or 12% cap or whatever, not to get technical.
You'd have done the same.
You got the same exact thing without the 57% decline, without the black swan events, without that, you ended up in the same place.
And it would have been tax-free.
And it would have been tax-free.
Yes.
So kudos to you if that came from you. If not, then why didn't it?
I don't know. I was off vacation.
Can you talk about that for a moment?
Well,
because I was intrigued by it.
Yeah, the whole idea of course, obviously, I deal in insurance products, and the reason is that they are designed to each one develop a strategy to reach a specific objective with the highest degree of probability, and in many cases, guaranteed to reach that objective, which I like. And so the idea that the insurance companies now have a way of investing their portfolio in such a way that they can offer the investor or the customer an opportunity to see their money grow when the market is growing and be level, be preserved in the times that the market is going down. So what happens is you have an up and down market, and you have an constantly increasing value in the portfolio, in the account that you set up with the insurance company. And because they're inside insurance policies, they enjoy the tax benefits that the government has set up over the years to allow for a tax-deferred accumulation of the money, and in certain configurations and designs, a tax-free access in retirement, a la a Roth IRA without all the government restrictions to it,
Well, it seems to me that this is a really, really good strategy for individuals that are a little bit younger. They're not, 65 years old.
Yeah.
A little bit younger, 40s, early 50s maybe, 30s for sure. And individuals that have surplus cash flow. They're doing fairly well, a young doctor, a dentist, that sort of thing.
Yeah, it's interesting. In fact, this is kind of pervasive throughout the financial services industry. If you start doing these things when you're younger, and of course, it's hard for a 25-year-old who's just got out of his mother's basement, in his first apartment or whatever, to start doing something like this. But people in their middle 30s to middle 40s, if they would start if they would adopt one of these strategies as a foundation for the ultimate objective, and then start, systematically putting money into these things, they can take advantage of some tremendous techniques of accumulating money and grow it without any tax.
Here's what we need to do. We need to come back and talk a little bit more about this on the other side. And then I'm going to also discuss with you what Christine Benz from Morningstar had to say about some must-know stats about long-term health care. If you want to learn about this, go to safemoneymonitor.com. Safemoneymonitor.com. Be right back. Welcome back, folks. This is the Ray Lucia Show with my special pal and guest, Gene Pastula, certified financial planner. We'll finish on the thought. I'm sorry to bring it up, but you did pretty well. In fact, while you were talking, I had a chance to even run to the restroom. You took up most of the show like you normally do.
Yeah,
but
you don't listen anyway.
I don't need to.
I'm hoping there's someone out there that
I read your emails. but we were discussing the fact, at least I was discussing something that was important to me, from an email that I got from Gene or Tim or one of the guys down at his firm, where if you actually looked at going into a 50-50 mix of stocks and bonds over the last 30 years, which incidentally, nobody says the next 30 years will be anywhere close to what the last 30 have been, because bond yields, used to be 6% or 7%, and now they're 2%. And stock market returns were 10 or 11%, and now they're forecasting at least the next 15 years to be probably 4 or 5% less than that. Having said all of that, even looking at the stats from the last 30 years. Stocks did about 10, bonds did about 5. A 50-50 mix gives you about a 7.5% overall rate of return. And then I looked at that by comparison to the rate of return that Gene was peddling through something called an index universal life.
Peddling?
And after I chuckled a little bit, I said, dang. I didn't really say dang, I said the other word.
Yeah, I know.
The guy's onto something here, because you got to the same place over the same amount of time by taking zero downside risk. And I was pretty fascinated by that, and I liked it.
Yeah. Now, not to confuse things by the fact that, I mean, when the market goes up, as I was saying earlier, doesn't mean that your interest rate goes up the same amount.
Right.
There are caps there, but you do get a higher interest rate, and when the market goes down, you don't lose any of what you've acquired up till that point.
Well, what I learned in that little graphic was, by not losing money, and this is something that I've said for years, the best way to win is to keep from losing. So by having a cap, you miss out on the 28% return because you capped out at 12, but you never had to take a 12, 15, 18, 56% decline either.
Correctamundo. And that's what, and that is probably the most significant thing to long-term investing. And so the insurance industry really has an approach that should be part of, or certainly seriously considered by anybody who is amassing a portfolio for the future.
Now, one of the things that I learned in all of this, actually I didn't learn it because I knew it, is the fact that that's just one part of the comparative. The fact that you get a rate of return that's equal to or greater than, equal to, a little less than. But then the real key difference was when you started to take the money out, you could take out substantially more because you didn't have to pay a penny in taxes by using policy loans.
Correct. So the whole idea of all of these products is the tax efficiency and the leverage that you get. And of course, you mentioned the long-term care issue, which is another one of those issues that people, particularly in the older ages, need to focus on, because there's such a high incidence of use of long-term care because of Alzheimer's and Parkinson's and and aging and all the rest of the stuff, and people are inundated with information and various sources telling them that they've got to do something about planning for long-term care and the like. And the life insurance, not the long-term care insurance sellers, but the life insurance sellers are providing now a strategy that makes so much sense because of the fact that you can literally use these contracts and you can deposit money into an insurance contract that earns higher interest than anywhere else. It doesn't go down. And it supports a life insurance death benefit. Everybody's familiar with the fact that you pay a little bit of money, and if you die, you get your heirs get a bunch. Well, what if you could get the big bunch if you needed long-term care? So instead of purchasing a long-term care policy like auto or homeowners or anything else, where you pay a premium and if
I did.
Yeah.
I bought a long-term care policy.
Right. And if you have a claim, they'll pay, but if you don't, they keep your money.
Right.
Okay. Well, in these cases, the amount of money that you're going to get, that somebody's going to get for sure. It's just, if you die, the kids will get it, but if you need it first for long-term care, you get it. And this thing it's amazing. And we do seminars, for luncheon seminars and everything. It is amazing. People come there and eat a sandwich, and they go away, submitting to us requests for illustrations and examples for them. They get really excited about it, and it's
so I get those little invitations. I could come down and just score a free sandwich. I should do that. Okay, so let me summarize for all the folks, because sometimes Gene, he's a little verbose, rambles a little bit. Summary: you put your money into a quote savings plan. You get a return that is similar to a 50-50 mix, 60-40 mix of stocks and bonds, a diversified portfolio, except for you never lose money. You just get capped out on the upside, but over time it works out about the same. When it comes time to retire, you get a tax-free income that's greater than what you could have gotten from a traditional savings plan. And if you get sick before you die, you can tap into the death benefit for long-term care early. And so the key question is, why wouldn't you do this? I can't figure out why an individual that can qualify, maybe if they're on their deathbed, they can't qualify, right?
I think because we've been doing this for a long time, and it's always been because not everybody does it, and a lot of the people that don't do it certainly could. And the only thing that I can come up with is that it is a complex concept.
Yes.
Not easily understood by everybody. In fact, financial planners are probably just as bad at understanding it as the public. And so if you can't get totally comfortable with it, it's hard to pull the trigger. And I don't know what the answer to that is that for folks like myself to keep trying different ways of getting people, but I get a call from somebody from time to, from on a regular basis, someone, not the same person, who just gets it just based on what I've said on the show, They totally understand it. They can put money that they've got somewhere else and they can put it into the insurance contract. It's safe and liquid and it gets a decent interest rate and it supports a huge amount of money that would go to their heirs when they die, which is one of the issues that most retirees have, is being able to pass something on. But that huge amount of money that just automatically increases when they die can automatically increase when they need long-term care. And so it starts to all come together and they say, why wouldn't I do this? In fact, that's the number one response that I get.
Yeah, I know.
Is why wouldn't I do this? And which is also what's the catch? And this sounds too good to be true. And well, it's magic. It
is magical anyway. Gene Pastula, SafeMoneyMonitor.com. He actually is one of the dudes that invented this product way back 25, 30 years ago. And of course, now there are several different iterations of how you can go about doing this. A younger person might choose one iteration, an older person might choose a different one. But whether you're young or you're old like me, you want to make sure that you at least have the information. Call and talk with Gene. He can walk you through that and get you comfortable with it. I know because I have done this for myself, for my family, and I've talked to many, many, many people about it over the years. Go to Safe Money Monitor. That's all he deals with, is the safe stuff. No way to lose. SafeMoneyMonitor.com, 800-809-6783. See, I called you a dude, man. You know what that means?
Must be something good.
You better lose a couple of pounds like me.
I really do.
All right.
I'm watching myself on the monitor, and it's sad.
Yeah, that's what we need, is a fatmonitor.com. Go to fatmonitor.com. And if you get as fat as us, we'll let you on the show, and you can ramble, just like Gene Pastula. Thanks, buddy. I'll talk to you next week. Take care. SafeMoneyMonitor.com, 800-809-6783. We'll be back with emails.